Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bonnie Carlson, President and CEO of PMA.
Good morning and welcome. This is our annual marketing conference, as you know, the Game Changers, but it's also the celebration of our 100th anniversary. When you look at history through the lens of marketing, you realize marketing has always been a reflection of our culture, the values and interests, the worries and desires, even the news events of each generation. It's a constant evolution, and it has proven out again and again over the past century. PMA's history starts 100 years ago, but promotion marketing was already emerging before the turn of the century.
It's the turn of the century, and the Industrial Revolution is in full steam. Industry tycoons have transformed the steel, oil, coal, and rail industries. European immigrants are attracted to the new opportunities for growth, and the mood is upbeat. The U.S. car industry is born. Steam engine trains are making goods and cities more accessible, and the largest passenger ship ever built set sail from London. We had budding sports heroes, with Babe Ruth debuting on the baseball diamond, and a professional football league starting with Jim Thorpe. Movies go from silent films to talkies. The Ziegfeld Follies, Al Jolson, and Mickey Mouse kept us entertained, and Miss America defines the ideal woman. The Panama Canal is dug. The bra and the zipper debut, as did IBM and NBC. But then the Great War started in Europe, and all too soon the U.S. was also involved, and goods were rationed. The war ended. There was a new confidence in the nation. The underdog was speaking up, and suffragettes got the vote. The Roaring '20s was a decade of parties, flappers, gangsters, and then the stock market crashed in 1929.
In the Industrial Revolution, entrepreneurs, now some of today's leading marketers, created new ways to sell products: sampling, coupons, trading stamps, and premiums. The first coupons came from Asa Candler, the druggist who bought the formula for Coca-Cola in 1894 and gave out handwritten tickets for a free glass of his new fountain drink. C.W. Post followed the next year when he distributed the first grocery coupon, 1 penny, for Grape Nut cereal. But the most widespread type of promotion was premiums. Before the Civil War, B.T. Babbitt offered lithographed prints free with his soap. The first soap sold in cakes, not by a pound. At first, no one responded. So Babbitt put a value on the wrapper, 25 wrappers for a lithograph. The idea took off, and free prints hung in parlors all around the country. Sperry and Hutchinson began printing trading stamps in 1886. Adolphus Busch gave out beer tokens to patrons, even sheet music for songs about Budweiser beer, and branded pocket knives to bartenders. Coca-Cola was distributing calendars and tin trays to its customers. Premiums had become big business. By 1909, U.S. marketers were spending $60 million a year on premiums. And by 1915, it was up to $125 million a year. That would be $2.7 billion today. Although originally a loyalty mechanism, the premium was now being used as a form of advertising. And our founders believed it should be equal to print and other recognized forms of commercial advertising. But there was friction. Trading stamps were under attack for driving up the cost of business, and retailers lobbied to ban them. They succeeded in passing an anti-trading stamp bill in Washington state, the first in the country. But it was so broad that it banned premiums. As a result, marketers such as Lever Brothers, Armour, and Colgate-Palmolive Peet Company, among others, decided to found PMA in 1911. Their goals: to elevate the perception of premium advertising, to protect sellers and users from unfair restriction by state or federal action, and to educate marketers and lawmakers on legitimate premium marketing. These goals remain true today: to elevate the industry, advocate on its behalf, and educate marketers and lawmakers. Now, 1911 was an auspicious year for new beginnings. General Motors founder Billy Durant started a new car company with race car driver Louis Chevrolet. Frank Mars started making candy in his kitchen. Whirlpool debuted the electric wringer washing machine. Washington State passed its law in 1916, and PMA incorporated the next year and helped to amend, defeat, or repeal all anti-premium and anti-trading stamp laws except Washington State's, which was amended in 1939. As premium advertising grew, PMA grew with new members: Nestle, Quaker Oats, Swift, Eskimo Pie, Mighty Fine Corporation, Borden, McCormick, Procter & Gamble, Pillsbury, General Mills, and Brown & Williamson. Premiums are the root of PMA history. They're also important to American history. Premiums are artifacts of culture. They are a tangible, sometimes tiny, time capsule of American life. In 1912, Cracker Jack put a toy in every box. And Kellogg's Jungle Land moving picture book, its first copyrighted premium, hit a circulation of 2.5 million booklets. 1914, William Wrigley made arrangements to distribute 5 billion coupons over the next 10 years. Ford invented the rebate, $50 back on a Model T. The sticker price, $490. The FTC was formed in 1914 with the authority to issue cease and desist orders against dishonest advertising. And then the world went to war. Advertising was now promoting patriotism and the war effort. Once the war was over, many manufacturers reinvigorated business with premium promotions. Americans look for value, and premiums offered useful premiums, not just novelties. Swift, Colgate, Procter & Gamble printed premium catalogs, 48 pages, offering everything from kitchen utensils to smoking pipes, from clothing to furniture. People began to weigh values and premiums as closely as if they were paying money for them. I have a personal connection with this. Growing up, we had an oak rocking chair with a stamp under the seat that said Procter & Gamble. And my mother described it as a gift to my grandmother from P&G. Ivory floated a sculpture contest in 1925. At first, professional artists carved 1,000-pound blocks of soap. Eventually, every school kid in the country was whittling on a bar. By 1934, P&G was pulling 4,000 entries and 28,000 spectators to the judging in Rockefeller Center. Radio began in 1920, and Macy's staged the first Thanksgiving Day Parade in 1924, organized by a handful of thankful volunteer immigrant employees. Goodyear floated a blimp in 1925. Originally designed for the Navy, it was quickly adapted for public relations. And then in 1929, the stock market crashed.
The Depression came to the United States and the world, and stayed. Out of the darkness came inventiveness. Depression glass became a valued collectible. Radio became a conduit to the world. And Gone with the Wind was on everyone's bedside table. Public works projects provided employment relief and brought new commerce and infrastructure. The Tennessee Valley Authority, Hoover Dam, and Golden Gate Bridge. The Empire State Building became the country's and the world's tallest building. a title it would hold for 40 years. Prohibition was repealed, and Jesse Owens set new records and brought home 4 gold medals from the Berlin Olympics. But turmoil was brewing, and soon war once again ravaged Europe. Again, we couldn't escape involvement. For 4 long years, families were torn apart, unified in their sacrifice of the war effort. Hundreds of battles on multiple fronts later, our country and the world had changed again.
Jobs are scarce. Jobs are gone, rather. Money is scarce. Manufacturers are desperate. Sales are needed. And promotion takes on a new urgency. Depression wear is packed in products and given away in stores as gifts with purchase. For kids, a secret decoder from Little Orphan Annie or Captain Midnight shares a special message at the end of each radio broadcast. As radio grew and the Depression wore on, premium offers abound and the self-liquidator is born. Early offers keep the price around a dime. Any premium costing more than a quarter was a conversation piece. But there are reasons for hope. It's the decade of the World's Fair, actually 2 World's Fairs. The debut of Life magazine, the birth of Had and Sunblom Santa, and Coke introduces a new Sunblom Santa every season for 34 years. It's also the end of Prohibition and the beginning of the Budweiser Clydesdales. The horses are a gift to August Busch from his sons to celebrate the repeal of Prohibition. In 1934, Wheaties put its first athlete on the box, Lou Gehrig. In 1936, Oscar Mayer's Wienermobile hit the road. In 1939, the Rheingold Girl Contest begins. By the 1950s, 25 million people were voting in each contest. It was the second biggest election after the presidential race. The Rheingold Girl ran for 25 years, and among the runners-up were Grace Kelly and Tippi Hedren. On the world stage, war erupts again. It's a time of patriotism and sacrifice, a unity across the nation. Victory gardens, scrap metal drives, rationing. Brands provide samples to GIs. M&M's, cigarettes, Coca-Cola, Gillette razors, Aquavelva, Spam. It spurred brand loyalty for a generation of servicemen. In 1941, television first appeared. Soap operas, Saturday morning cartoons, and variety shows provided new outlets for promotion with mass audience reach. And television borrows from radio. Ovaltine gives away decoder badges to unscramble secret messages. The seed is sown for watch and win sweepstakes decades later. And when the war is over, the boom begins.
The war is over. The soldiers return, and the suburbs beckon. A wife in an apron, kids in the backyard, a station wagon in the driveway, and a TV in the living room. Life doesn't get any better than that. The baby boom meant kids were everywhere, and they needed to be entertained and fed. TV helped too, and TV dinners were the norm. Color barriers were coming down. Rosa Parks rode the bus. The National Guard went to school, and before that, Jackie Robinson showed America true equality. Music goes from big band to rock and roll, and Elvis became a cultural phenomenon. American Bandstand and Mouseketeers are pop icons, and Chubby Checkers starts to twist. Americans get past the McCarthy era, but worry about the Cold War and watch as the Russians launch Sputnik. A new family occupies the White House. There is hope and excitement. America responds to the challenge to land a man on the moon. But a fateful day in Dallas changes things again.
I want to say, don't get in that car. Soldiers return, families are started. Moms want new recipes to feed their growing families. And in 1949, the Pillsbury Bake Off breaks new ground. First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, who presented the prize, calls the bake-off a healthy and highly American contest. Contests explode. Jingles, slogans, name the new baby. POP blossoms as TV proliferates. Continuity programs prosper as retailers give away dishes, encyclopedias, pots and pans. The baby boom grows and teens take over the culture. In 1955, Disneyland opens, McDonald's incorporates, and the Guinness Book of World Records debuts. The Marlboro Man saddles up. In 1980, Professor Jerome McCarthy coins the 4 Ps: product, place, price, promotion, and our work makes it into the textbook. It was the age of Camelot, the era of youth, a time of prosperity and pop culture, and then a terrible moment in Dallas pushes America off balance.